Okay, guys. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good wherever you're connected from. I'm trying to share the links of the live notice across the platforms now, so we can have everyone notified that we are live. Welcome. I'll be kicking off shortly with us once I'm done posting this on all our groups and platforms. Okay, fantastic. It's something I need to also do. Yeah, I can see our messages. Good day, guys. Okay, I think we are set to go. We are set to go in a minute. Okay, fantastic. We are set to go. I just wanted to be done. So I'm sending it. I've sent to every group. Okay, welcome, guys. Welcome. Seeing our messages. Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everybody. It's nice to see you guys. We didn't have what's it called? We didn't hold a crypto capital show last week, and because I've been very, very busy. Like the year started on a very good note for me, and so many good things. I don't know why we are 666. Please, 66 is not a good number. Share the link, right? Share the link. If you're on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, please share the link so someone else is going to join. Let's not be 666, please. Okay, guys, welcome, everybody, welcome. So today we didn't have any session last Sunday, but moving forward, I think I'm gonna try to make myself more available. So we're gonna have more of our series and our teachings to which have proven to be very effective and very profitable for so many of us. So many of us. So, okay, guys, let's today we're talking about the meaning of ETFs, the money in ETFs, the making of ETFs. So this is me taking us to, should I say financial class or a class for, yes, yeah, financial education class, because ETF has to do with the finance, banking and finance sector and all that. And, I was in a ride a couple of days ago, and I met this amazing young guy who is um, a friend, and we just met for the first time, and we started talking. And when we started talking, he has a very large amount of money invested in repo. So I think he said he has something somewhere around 50,000. No, sorry, 20,000 25,000, yeah, 25,000 pounds invested in repo. Repo. So he was asking me if repo is a good buy, if repo is a good hold and all that. So we got talking, and I'm telling him, yeah, repo is good and all that and stuff. And then he asked the question that he's been hearing so much about ETF. Every one of his friends has been telling him about ETF, but he's barely gotten anybody who's really explained to him understand what ETF is. He's just tired of the whole ETF is and what the bull on it. So I took quite 5 minutes to just do a quick explanation for him in 5 minutes, and he was like, no one has explained what ETF truly means, like you just did for me right now. And I really love the explanation. And in fact, we're hosting a private gathering, a couple of folks and who are like executives and stuff. Please, Shifu, come and explain to my friends what you just told me about ETFs and the impact and how beneficial it is to us to plug into the opportunity right now, that is involved in the crypto space and the space of Web3 and all that. So, and I did that, and it was an amazing time we had, an amazing time we had. So basically, welcome. If you've never been on any of our crypto capital shows, welcome. In the crypto capital show, we have one basically team which is raising the new set of billionaires, a new era of billionaires, a new chapter of billionaires, and we are doing that through the opportunity in cryptocurrencies in the world of Web3, and so teachings, both high value teachings, paid informations, alphas trainings are being given on a weekly basis on this show to help every one of us get to that peak whereby we can say that we are billionaires in our various country or economic currencies, and all that because of the privilege we have with in the time and in the season that we are in. So let's head straight to what we have on our slides, and let's smash this. So let's begin with the history of ETF. Now, the world's first ETF was introduced in Canada in 1990, and then the first ETF in the United States and US was 3 years later in 1993. And then in 2000, the world's first bond ETF was launched in Canada. By 2016, the world's first currency hedge ETF was launched. 2017, the world's first marijuana ETF was launched in Canada. In 2021, the world's first Bitcoin ETF, and 2021, the world's first psychedelic ETF. Now, if you can see here, from basically 20 from basically what's it called from basically 1990, when the first ETF was launched in Canada, in 1993 the first ETF was launched in US. From that one thing you notice is that there are various types of ETFs in each of these years that was first launched. But now let's go back to history. 3 years before 1990, which was 1987. In 1987, there was a black swan event, and that black swan event affected the stock market, and the stock market bleeded and crashed terribly, like down over to about 22 to 22.6%. The stock market was down, it fell down crazy. And when that happened, there was basically that crash was a domino had sorry it caused a domino effect that caused fear, panic, and massive losses across the board, because it was like one of the first time for the world to experience such crash in such magnitude and scale. And so there was so much fear. It was more like the beginning of the end. And then we had someone called Nathan Most. Like I think 70, it was 73-year-old at that time. He had this idea that came off. because the loss that shook the whole market made him come up with this idea. What if you can come up with the ETF, which is going to be a means whereby people wouldn't have to experience such tangible losses, people won't be exposed to such high volatility risk, yet they will still be able to maintain a good level of profits, a good margin of profits as a result of that event. That was where the inspiration of ETF came up. And if you fast forward 30 years from 1987 down to where we are in, the year we are in now, 30 years later, we've seen ETF has grown to become a multi-trillion dollar industry and opportunity. So we understand that this is what brought the ETF, the volatility that the volatility loss in the stock market that fell by over 22% plus in 1987 was what brought up the idea of creating something like an ETF by Mr. Nathan Most then. So 3 years down the line, we now had the first ETF that was now launched in Canada, which is in 1990. And then by 1993, we had it in the US and then started spreading all over the world. So what does an ETF mean? So basically, for us to understand the history, when you understand the history of a thing, you know where it's coming from, why it was created. So already you get an idea of the utility reason behind an ETF and why an ETF was created. So basically, what is an ETF? Now, if you see here, an ETF basically, I'm going to explain this now for us to basically understand perfectly well. So let me do this. So basically, imagine you have a bucket. You have a bucket with you. Yes, what am I going to use? So this is a water, but imagine you have a bucket, not this, but just imagine this is a bucket now. And in this bucket, you have various kind of investment in this bucket. So you have commodities here, you have stocks here, you have bonds here. Now, imagine that this bucket that you have various kinds of investments now is being traded in the stock market as just one single stock. So you are collating a series, several investments in one, and it's traded on the stock market or the stock exchange as just one single stock. So basically, what an ETF is that an ETF is an all-in-one fund that can be traded in a stock exchange. So, but that is not all. There's what I said. ETFs are more like what we call the future of stocks and mutual funds combined, because there are characteristics of a mutual fund and stocks being put together. A mutual fund is basically a group of people pulling funds together into into making diversified investments. That's mutual funds. Stocks, we basically know what stock means: the shares and companies and stuff being traded 247 in the market. Now, imagine what a mutual fund is, what a stock is coming together. That's what forms an ETF. And that's why this illustration I kept here on this chart shows here ETFs are often compared with stocks and managed funds. So just like stocks, an ETF can be traded on a stock exchange or once the market is opened. And just like mutual funds, pooled investments across a range of assets, diversified, and all that as well. So basically, this gives you a hint of what an ETF is, whereby an ETF is basically, okay, let me use the S&P 500. We understand what an S&P 500 is now. When we say S&P 500, some of you who are traders, either forex traders or co, you know, you've heard S&P 500, you know what S&P 500 is. Now, what an S&P 500 means, an S&P 500 is an ETF. Now, what it means is that the 500 is 500 company stocks in the United States, 500 company stocks, 500 company stocks being pulled together to as one asset being traded in on a stock exchange as a stock. So somebody who invests in the S&P 500 is having a part and parcel of 500 shares at the same time without needing to go through the rigorous process of approaching each of these companies one after the other to open an investment with them. So instead of you to imagine one of the 500 companies crashed and and, and probably declared bankruptcy, you wouldn't be losing so much money because you are not invested in just that company alone. So if you're only invested in that company, you would lose money drastically. But because you are invested in the S&P 500, even if one company across the 500 company goes bankrupt, your loss will not be so much. Hope we're getting the drill now. Hope you're understanding what I'm saying. You're getting the point about how an ETF works. I'm using the S&P 500 now as a case study to explain to you how an ETF works. So when we're talking about why ETFs and then why Bitcoin ETFs. So basically, why ETF is that ETFs, from what I'm just saying to you now, it makes diversification and risk management easy, very easy. So because one ETF can hold from as little as 25 stocks to 7,000 to 5,000 to 8,000 stocks. One single ETF can hold a large range number of stocks. So the ease of entry, whereby you can just easily acquire and trade a stock, trade it as just one stock, the affordability, the access, and the reduced risk exposure you have in the market is basically why ETFs are important and what they do for people who want to get into the world of investing. So now the question you want to ask, I don't know why I'm seeing this number again. We're now 1666. Guys, share the live, share it if you're watching on Facebook, on Twitter, on what's it called, on YouTube, right? Share it. I think the number showing here on my end is collated across all those who are connected on the 4 different platforms. It's combined, so it's showing me the total figure of people combined here. So, but I don't know if it's so I don't think it's just on YouTube alone, or I don't know, but I think it's combined. People are connected from both uh Facebook, Twitter X, and YouTube at the same time. Hope I'm making sense, guys. Let me know if I'm making sense. Drop a comment. Let me hear you. Let me know if I'm making sense and you're learning something. Yeah. So now, why Bitcoin ETFs? Why Bitcoin ETFs? Because this is the only way for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to be universally accepted and grow into becoming a multi-hundred trillion market. I repeat, because this is the only way for Bitcoin and cryptos to be universally accepted and become a multi-hundred trillion market. So when we are talking about cryptos being the future of Forex, the ETF is laying the foundation, for that, because it's about to start playing out already. It's about to start playing out already. Number 2, it is the legally accepted way for institutional investors, people who are multi-billion dollar investors, multi-trillion dollar firms like BlackRock, equity funds, the major whales ruling the world, Vanguard, and the likes of them. It is the legal accepted way for these institutional investors to get into crypto without being restricted by the governments. Whether you're a singular institutional investor or you are a group of institutional investors, this is the legally accepted way for institutional investors to get involved into crypto legally, without the government restricting them or saying this is not good, this is bad, without all the rigmarole that's going to come through from the government. So it is basically the legal acceptance of cryptos as a security that can be traded on the stock exchange platform. So now this means that people who don't want to, who don't know much about cryptocurrencies, they don't know much about Bitcoin, they are not concerned about going through the rigorous processes that are involved in trying to access Bitcoin can literally just be able to invest into Bitcoin, into crypto now, through an ETF. And it is legal and government approved. So what we are saying that in a couple of years' time, crypto will be universally accepted is already happening right before our eyes. The ETF is laying that foundation. So if we're talking about the monopoly of cryptocurrencies, of the Bitcoin, it has already started happening. We're in the grassroots stage, and you do not want to be left behind, because like we always say, what was is and what is shall be. The world is a simulation. A simulation. As much as we believe in decentralization, we are speaking decentralization. The world was created as a pyramid system. It has always been a pyramid. It will always be a pyramid with God at the topmost part of that pyramid. And that is how every system in the world functions and live by. In fact, the human needs, how we move our needs in life, are the basic human needs to the specific human needs from a young age to the age of when we get to die, is all a pyramid. It's all a pyramid. So we cannot, no matter how we say we want decentralization, which is definitely going to be, it is going to be, I think that the space is going to evolve into what we call distributed decentralization or distributed mechanisms, whereby there will still be that level of a little bit level of monopoly. But the good thing here is that you have an opportunity to be at the top of that monopoly too right now, instead of to just be a victim of that monopoly. Because now we're talking about the opportunity and the money in ETF. You have that opportunity now. How do I mean? You're going to ask. For example, I think I posted about the gold SPR as an example when it was the gold ETF, which was in 2004. Let me look for where I posted it on the Telegram and across various platforms. The first gold ETF, which was approved in 2004. Yes, approved in 2004. And by the end of that year, the fund was worth $1.3 billion. 7 years later, it became the world's largest ETF. And gold prices has followed from $442 at the launch of the ETF. Gold has risen, and by 830 to about 89% or so. And then it stood at over 100% plus, about $800 plus by the end of 2007. GLD became the world's largest private owner of the gold bullion. Today it has a market cap of over 57 billion. But this is the thing, it exposed millions of new investors to the physical metal. This is what is about to happen to crypto in this year and by the end of 2024, because history repeats itself. Within a period of months, we started having gold picking up aggressively, and today we are sitting with gold is sitting, I think, above $2,000, right? Gold is above $2,000. It has never gotten below that point again since the ETF was launched. That is the opportunity that is happening right before you right now. Now, I'm going to expatiate this. I'm using this as an example. Now, imagine all those who got in on gold when the opportunity was there in 2003, in 2004, before the ETF was approved, or even why the ETF was approved. Imagine how rich they are going to be. Imagine how successful they are going to be. Imagine their finances. Right. Okay. Someone said it's above 2K. Yeah. Okay. So I'm correct. Imagine how rich they are going to be. That is, just look at one opportunity. So I'm giving that is one opportunity of how rich they're going to be. Because the second opportunity I said is you can get into the top of the pyramid monopoly of the financial system. There's a saying that if you cannot beat them, join them. Now, that is how the world system is. In the financial system of the world operates like a pyramid. And the truth is, you can't beat them, no matter how decentralized you claim to be. But you or should I say, the only way you can beat them is somehow by joining them. In other words, not joining them to do evil, but being able to, that divide that makes it be like there are only a few set of people who are benefiting for the financial monetary system. You can get, crypto has given us the opportunity for us to get into that point whereby you can become so rich and you can become a powerhouse in the world. You can become a powerhouse wherever you find yourself, in any country you find yourself. You know that you are not a liability. In fact, you are an asset to that country. You are not a victim, but you are a victor. And you have that opportunity. But guess what? This is something those who are the power centers of the world do not want just anybody. Just anybody, even the common man, to have such power, because money is power. Money is a defense. And the power centers of the world do not just want anybody to have it. And now, coming from me, I know what it means to live a life of poverty, a life of lack, a life whereby you're struggling to make ends meet. And I know what it means to have money. If you read somewhere in the Bible where the Bible says that the rich speak it roughly, you will now understand why the moment someone starts having real money, his speech starts changing. In fact, his level of confidence, his tone of confidence changes automatically. It comes, there's this feeling that comes when you have so much money. Someone was saying the other day that most rich people that he knows do not eat. It's very well, like it's so much. And I was like, it's because the satisfaction of the kind of wealth they have already is filling their stomach. That's what happens when you have money. And now this is the thing. Though the power centers of the world do not want everybody to have that feeling. They want to monopolize the financial system and have more power and control. But guess what? When you become very rich and powerful, you will have an edge because you are become almost as rich as they are. You have certain level of influence. They do not want that. And that is why they are coming to monopolize crypto, because they understand that crypto is an idea that can no longer be stopped. It has to be universally accepted. And the world has tilted to accept it now as and will be in vogue. Cryptocurrencies, we were having CBDCs already, and that's getting going to be legalized in each country. And when CBDCs come, which it has already come already, and each country begins to roll out their CBDCs, it's gone. It's gone. Like fiat money is over. We are purely tilting towards the use of cryptos in the world. And what that means is that the governments, the power centers will now monopolize crypto. And when they monopolize crypto, the opportunity you have now is gone. It's gone forever. But now you can have access to be a beneficiary of that monopoly before it happens. That's opportunity number 2. Now let's talk about opportunity number 3. Now, after BTC, okay, let me use I'll use it after BTC. How am I going to do this now? I want okay, let me use gold, for example. When after the gold ETF was approved and certain things started happening in gold, the next thing that happened was that we now had a silver ETF coming into the scene. And the silver ETF was approved. Now, after the silver ETF, we started having other ETFs, copper, magnesium, various precious metals. The ETFs were coming. People made, let's say, if you made 1,000% from gold, people who now got involved in those other ETFs that came in made like 1,000%, 10,000%. I'm just using as an example, figuratively, not so. But the gains that were made on those other ETFs that came was way bigger than the gains that came from gold ETF as well, which led so gold was just like a forerunner. That is the same way the Bitcoin ETF is a forerunner, and so many people are not talking about it now because they are not seeing that the bigger picture here is beyond the Bitcoin ETF. After BTC ETF, we have Ethereum ETF, and the Ethereum ETF will most likely be approved after the halving. The halving, Bitcoin halving is just 77 days from now, and after the halving, most likely we have like the deadline for the Ethereum ETF is after the halving. So post halving, when the deadline gets, we're going to have the Ethereum ETF approved. And now the same thing that happened to Bitcoin weeks and months before they have started moving up, and that's the same thing that's going to happen to Ethereum. And not just Ethereum alone, it will start going to specific altcoin ETFs that will follow just the same pattern that gold. than gold. And the good thing here is that for every single one of those ETFs that will be announced and approved this year into next year in the tick of this bull run, I know every single one of them, and that is why I have them in the exclusive report, which I paid for heavily amount of money for, and I'm currently selling for those who are interested and need to get that report. Now, see how BTC started picking up months ahead of the ETF. It started running massively. BTC was literally defying price action. It was defying price action. And so just, and despite some of us who even had like earlier shots were liquidated, where our stop loss was hit, and just kept on moving. Now, that's how Ethereum and certain cryptos we begin picking up from February. From February, the month is already elapsing in a few days' time. And we're getting to February. And from February, certain specific altcoins will start picking off in the same way, ahead, weeks and ahead. Now, this is why if you're not in the bull run group, you will most likely miss out. And at the end of the day, so many of you will be buying in late. That is why you should do everything you can to make sure you join in the bull run group. You join in the bull run group. If you do not want to join the bull run group, try and get the ETF report. Try and get it, any one of them, so you do not miss out on what is to be the opportunity of a lifetime, in the lifetime of that opportunity, why it exists right now. Now, let's talk about the types of ETFs. The types of ETFs. We have here, I think I wrote here about 5 different, on this screenshot, we have like 5 types of here. We have bond ETFs. Now, the bond ETFs is basically when a basket of bonds. Now, if you don't know what bonds mean, it's so when the government, your government needs money and wants to take a loan, they issue out bonds. So with bonds, you are like loaning the government, your federal government of your country, money. And when you're loaning them that money, they are going to pay you that money with interest. That's what bonds mean, in case you don't know what bonds mean. So a bond ETF is you investing in a basket of bonds, such as municipal, state, federal, corporate bonds being put together. So you could be loaning various parastatals and platforms and agents in the economy at the same time with bond ETFs. Now we have industry ETFs that's targeted towards specific industries like technological, pharmaceuticals, agro, energy. We have that as well. Then number 3, we have commodity ETFs. Now, commodity ETFs involves ETFs that has to do with physical commodities like oil, goods, natural resources, and stuffs. And then we have currency ETFs that has to do with global currencies such as US dollar, the euro, the pound, the Japanese yen. And then we have inverse ETFs using a variety of derivatives to make a profit from an to make a profit from a decline in the value of a stock by shorting them. I don't know if you guys have heard I think I've taught you guys about inverse investment. That was in 2022, right? In 2022, I taught you guys an inverse investment. That was in when the bear market was beginning. I was teaching you guys about how you can use this inverse investment strategy in the bear market and you can make so much money out of it. Now we have that type of stocks, ETFs, sorry, called inverse ETFs, whereby there's a base variety of derivatives. You can make a profit from a decline in the value of a stock by shorting them. There are quite a handful of these kinds of ETFs that are basically in the market today. In the market today, various types of ETFs. Now, our focus is Bitcoin ETF, crypto ETF. I have explained to you guys how ETF started, where it started from, how it has evolved ever since, and then what an ETF is. And from what an ETF is, I've also explained to you the opportunities involved in ETFs. ETFs right now. I think I have given like 4 to 5 different opportunities involved in ETF and how you need to get positions to maximize and make every opportunity there is right now. So either by joining the bull run group or getting the ETF report, any one of them. And then I've also talked about the different types of ETFs that exist. Now let's look at Bitcoin crypto ETF as well. As we explained to us why ETFs are important, why also then why Bitcoin ETF is also important. Now, let's talk about the two types of Bitcoin ETF, because there are two types of Bitcoin ETF. We have the spot Bitcoin ETF, and then we have the futures Bitcoin ETF. So it's important to know these two different types of ETFs as well. So let me make the screen bolder and bigger so you can see, and we can like go through the differences together. Now, in the spot Bitcoin ETF, let me first do an explanation so before we get confused. Now, in the spot Bitcoin ETF, you are actually exposed to having fragments of BTC in form of shares, based if you buy that's the Bitcoin spot ETF stock now in form of shares, and you are exposed to the underlying asset of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes down in value, it affects your holding. If it comes down in value, it also affects your holding. Hope you understand that like perfectly well. Now, if it goes up in value, it affects your holding. If it comes down to, it also really affects your holding. Now, to explain it much more in a bigger sense and all that, we now have the futures ETF. Now, the future ETF is more like you are not exposed to the underlying asset of, should I say, the price fluctuation of Bitcoin per time. You are actually getting involved into a contract. What you are buying is a contract that says that BTC is going to be in a premium level at certain time, in a premium price level at certain time, or in a, what is it called? In a discount price level. So it's actually going to be higher, saying that if Bitcoin gets high this time, it's like when you know what we do when we're trading futures now, like based on predictions and all that. So you're buying a contract that says Bitcoin is going to be at this level at this time, or it's going to be lower at this time. That's basically what you're doing with, that's the difference between the futures and the spot. But let us look into the picture I copied out of the internet to use and explain to us. So one of the differences is that in spot Bitcoin ETF, you are buying a part of the actual Bitcoin. In the Bitcoin futures ETF, you are buying the Bitcoin futures contract. And then the second difference here is that in the spot Bitcoin, you are connected to the direct Bitcoin price. The tracking is based on the current CMP price at the current market price, but the futures is based on the future market price. You are exposed in spot Bitcoin ETF, you're directly exposed to Bitcoin, but in the futures Bitcoin ETF, you're indirectly exposed to Bitcoin. The spot Bitcoin ETF reflects the volatility involved in Bitcoin, but on futures, it's only based on future market risk. A spot Bitcoin ETF requires secure storage. A futures Bitcoin ETF does not need physical storage and all that. A spot Bitcoin ETF can vary in price from premium to discount, but the futures is most times stable. Now, this is the thing here, in case you do not understand this. Never before has it happened in the world whereby we are expecting a bull run, and in that bull run, we are having this number of ETFs approved, and at the same time, we are also having the Bitcoin halving taking place in that same year. So we are having like three major events happening for the first time in the history of cryptocurrencies put together. This is why I believe and I know for sure that this bull run is going to be the biggest we have ever seen, and we will not have another like this ever again. There are three things that are very, very important. The first one is to position. The second one is to prepare for the change of the financial system in the world. The third one is to profit. Position, prepare, and make profits. What are you positioning? You need to position for the bull run and the time we are in. Do not joke with any information that is being given. Apart, there are people who are selling out hot information right now. If you do not want to pay me, go and pay them. As long as you are sure and certain of them, utilize value this time. This time, you just need to position. You just need to be positioned. Position as much as you can. That is why I have the ETF report specifically for those who can afford it, and those who can't, who wants to be under my mentorship throughout the bull run. You join the bull run group, where I offer the mentorship and guide, and you also have access to a bull run spreadsheet as well and all that. Get positioned. Now, number two, prepare. What do I mean by prepare? You have to start learning how forex and the stock market work, so that when you start making money, you can diversify your profits when you start making enough gains. So even if it's going to be in cryptos, you want to study the major asset classes in cryptos, and you want to have a more balanced approach. Not the approach of, when some of us, whenever you invest in crypto, maybe you put $100 and that $100 turns out and just gives you like $20,000, $50,000. It seems like a knot has left our brain, and we lose touch of reality that these kind of gains are not common in the normal financial world, and we begin to become too greedy and affect the result we see. Now, I know so many persons we see make so much money, but that is in the last bull run, the same thing happened. So many persons made so much money, but they also lose so much money. But you have the opportunity to make a massive change in your life right now if you are prepared. We always say that breakthrough is basically when favor meets preparation. So when opportunity meets preparation, we have what we call favor, or we have what we call breakthrough. So you want to be prepared. So this will be towards the end of the bull run, actually, or the bull markets, because towards the end of the bull markets, I'm going to have a special training package, whereby that training package I'm going to have is going to be for only those who have made a minimum of $100,000 and above. So people who are 6-figure earners, 7-figure earners, 8-figure earners in dollars, we have access to that special training package, because it is going to be on stocks, forex, and stuffs and all that as well. How to diversify your wealth and protect it. Some of us that are still here in the long run, even through the bearish market, we're coming out to give information and all that as well. When so many persons who are now coming out in crypto were actually silent, we were very fully active, showing up, educating, putting information and all that. Now it's because we were we learned how to secure our wealth early, how to preserve the money we made, and throughout the bear market, we were just living on increased and expanded profit. I was sharing to someone the other day how 2022 was it was when we had an intensive bearish market, when the bear market was very intense. And in 2022, I had a major loss in cryptos, which was in April, right? April. A couple of persons know about that, where about 4 of my wallets was hacked, and I lost over $200,000. And guess what? And that in that same 2022 is when I made one of the biggest investments in my life that I never dreamt was possible, but I achieved it that year. This is something that no one in my family for ages and hundreds of years have been able to achieve. I was able to do that in 2022. It's not even talk about breaking generational record. I did that in 2022, and that's one of my biggest thriving businesses today. I was able to achieve that, and that was more like a multiple 9-figure investment in naira and all that. So, and that was in intensive for the bear market. Guess what? It was because of I learned how to preserve my wealth despite the resistance I got, the loss I had. Yet I also made the biggest huge step, the biggest positive, should I say, financial decision in my life that year, and I made some of the biggest gains ever that year, even post the bull run. And anybody here can do that, because when you make money, when you've learned how to multiply money, you just keep on getting uh richer and richer and richer and richer. And profits. So I said position, prepare, profit. What does profit mean? Enjoy your profit, guys. Enjoy your profit. Enjoy your profit. It is your money. Enjoy it whatever way. And I don't criticize people on how they choose to enjoy their money. Some choose to enjoy it in a foolish way, some in a wise way. But whatever way, just enjoy it. Because uh when money is meant for spending, that's the truth. Money is meant for spending. So it's either you're spending it to invest it to produce more, or you're spending it for yourself, one way or the other. Money is it's meant to just continue flow, because that's why it's called currency. So currency is taken from the word current. It should constantly be a current flow of money. Money is meant to flow like current. Current, it flows. To enjoy your profits, that's basically it. If you want to buy expensive cars, you want to own big businesses and all that, just still enjoy your profits. So, and this is the thing: you don't have to pay to join the bull run group for you for if you don't want to. You can do it yourself. You don't even have to pay for the ETF report if you don't want to. You can do it yourself. You can decide to spend all your time to research and put in so much effort to see how you could try if you can. But if you choose the ETF report was paid for. It's a paid information. I paid for it. Expensive. And that's why I'm not just giving it out to anybody, but to those who want it and can afford it, who reach out to me. I tell them, some of them I give them a special discount, and they get it. Those are guaranteed assets, and they are high-end information from institutional platforms, which I cannot disclose on this um, live session, because this is a lot of people are watching this, so I can't disclose it. But it's a privileged information as well. So if you want it, you can get it. If you also want to join the bull run group, make sure you join to maximize the information that is in this time in this, because we are not late right now. We have a couple of weeks, a couple of months, weeks, not even months, weeks before the action start becoming intensified. And some people here are going to be late because they want to get in on the action when the action is already 50 way down the line, and you don't want to be that person. Like I said at that time, that some people will just wake up and they'll discover that the bull run is over, and when they want to get in is when people are already getting out of the bull run. You know how crypto is. Sometimes you buy a coin now and it seems like nothing is happening in that coin. And then all of a sudden you just wake up one day. Maybe the day you sell off that coin, you just sort of this coin, nonsense community, nonsense leadership, nonsense team. You're so pissed. In fact, the person who gave you the coin, you're angry at the person. Why did you even call this kind of coin? Maybe it's Shifu that called it. And you're angry, you're like, and so let me just sell off this thing. And then when you sell off 2 days later, 3 days later, a week later, you now see the coin has done 2,000%, 3,000%. And you start asking yourself, is it village people? or have they sworn on you that it's only when you want to sell a coin that the coin has to pick up in value? Now, that's how the crypto space is. We are saying these things that, and it feels like ETFs, bull run. It when it just starts happening, it's always like a dream. You just wake up one day and some of the coins Shifu has dropped in the bull run spreadsheet list has turned $200 to what's it called, to $100,000, $200,000. It just happens, and it will be repeated events, repeated. It's just repetitive like that, and you're like, how, from where to where? How did it happen? How did it happen? I mean, if you join the House of Wealth Results channel, so I don't know how to do this now. So members of the House of Wealth who were initially suggested I created a result channel where we get to document testimonies and results, because the House of Wealth has been since like 2017. And I think then we said it was just basically a WhatsApp group and all that. So even the name House of God, I think it was people that suggested that name and all that. It wasn't even myself, it was people that suggested it. So it's basically a WhatsApp group when we started. And then the WhatsApp group became so big and filled up. So we opened other WhatsApp groups and all that like that. We just keep on being bigger. And it was basically a free platform where everybody comes together. I share information and we'll make money together. And then I think somewhere around 2019 to 2020, people started suggesting that for the time and effort I'm putting, I should monetize and all that. That's how I started monetizing it. It was never even, I never started up like a paid platform and all that. So some person suggested that I created a House of Web result channel, which I did around by 2020, ending of 2020, like 2021, I think. But by then, we've lost a lot of screenshots and videos and stuff, but we still have so many of them. I think from 2020, I was posting on the result channel. I just posted the result channel link now on the Telegram, on our Telegram. So if you're on the Telegram, you can literally see it. Now, what you want to do is when you go to that result channel, scroll down to like 2021, you see some videos of some tokens I posted. Like I had to practically post the live, when somebody says that you made this amount of money, you can easily doubt it, except there's a proof of it. So some of the videos I actually posted. I think I posted a video whereby one of the coins I called, I've invested somewhere around $200 or so, grew up to over 100 and something thousand dollars, Abby. Yeah, about it grew up to about $200,000 or so. And it was barely $200 or so. And it was just 2 or 3 coins. I posted the video and the live exchange, the amount it was showing, how it increased. I posted it on that. So you scroll up to like, you see crazy things that happened in the last bull run. And guess what? We have the opportunity right now. And you shouldn't miss out. You shouldn't miss out. You shouldn't miss out. You shouldn't miss out. Someone said, that's me always. Village people after me. You shouldn't miss out on it. In the time we are seeing that are in right now, maximize every opportunity you can. Don't dull. Don't dull. There's not a time to think whereby you are enriching people's pockets and all that. So this is a time for you to be positioned so you can also enrich your own pocket as well. So, guys, this is basically like an hour. And I never want our live stream sessions to exceed more than an hour, which we know. I am very time conscious in our streams and the sessions we have. And I try what more important is I pass on the information for that day. Teachers give us value and probably takes a couple of questions and then we call it a day while we look forward to the next session as well. Someone said, thank you so much for this free important information. 3 major events happening in the same year. Is this just a coincidence or planned? We will call it an incidence. So an incidence is when something is both planned and it's a coincidence put together. In other words, it's planned by both divinity and by man. So the fact that the plans, the Bitcoin halving is not something that is planned. It's already orchestrated into time as the mechanism implies. So that is not planned. Now for the ETFs coming into scene, it's also that is planned. You understand what I mean? Now that is planned, and then having the bull run and all that is a coincidence. So that's why I say it's basically an incident. It's a combination of a planned event, a coincidence put together equals to an incident. So we're having it, and what you just want to do is for us to be positioned. This is not a time to argue with people whether Bitcoin will go to $10,000 or it will go to $100,000. Stop all those baseless, foolish arguments. Those arguments are born out of egotism and pride. You don't need it. All you just need is to make so much money that you are confident of yourself, so much money that people don't dictate to you. Like you are in ownership of your life. You are in charge of your life. You are confident. Yeah, my friend will say you hold your side strong. You hold your side strong. You hold lamb. Person no go fit come rub shaggy for your face. Eh? That happens when you have so much money by yourself and you enjoy the best of your life. You know why? In an era whereby you see some people who have been in the crypto space for a couple of years trying to fight who is the first, who is the father, who is the god, who is the this, and why they are doing all that baseless argument and all that. There are young boys and young girls in the Web3 crypto space that are coming up so strong and so rich. And I'm saying this not because I've seen online. I'm saying it because I know so many of them who are doing crazy figures, even more than OGs. I mean it, like young folks in Web3 and crypto who are doing millions in dollars, millions in pounds, who are not OGs. They are killing it crazy because I'm in so many groups by these people and these folks. So I know what is happening. So you shouldn't, nobody should make you feel like because they were here before you, they are entitled to making more money before you. Everybody's entitled to this money. Anybody can make this money. You can make so much money that your generation has never seen before. You can and you will if you do the right things. If you do it rightly, you keen rightly, you will be positioned. You will be positioned and you will reap the effort out of it. You reap the effort out of it. Reap the effort out of it. Someone said the mystery of the space. You buy low based on privileged information, while some buy the sell off of those who bought early. And there's the target of the village. That's the truth. Trading is a zero sum game. You are either winning or losing. For every happiness you have, somebody's getting pain and out there and as well. And that's why I want to be on the happiness side. So want to be on the winning side. And if you want to be on the winning side, be positioned. Be positioned. Be positioned. I'll be speaking a couple of crypto events this week. I haven't been one who has been attending crypto events, and I've always been aware of it. But there are a couple of exclusive crypto events I'll be speaking this week. I think I'm going to share the pictures later on social media and all that. In Europe, they actually happen in Europe, not in Africa. In Europe, in Europe, and make sure you are plugged into the bull run group because there are certain information that will be shared in these events that I will exclusively give to those who are in the bull run group and all that as well. And if you are situated anywhere in Europe, I think there are, most of these events actually paid and they are ticketed as well. You can actually get a ticket of these events and attend them. They are Web3 crypto events, and a lot of them are actually going to be coming up this year as well. So much has been said. Like I always say, guys, if the students be ready, the shifu will appear. And where the shifu appears, what happens? The students will prevail. Guys, I hope every one of us prevail. I hope we make so much money beyond what we can imagine. I wish us the very best. I hope whatever I teach, we find value in it and we can utilize it to make the most for our lives, for our families, and we can live our best lives with the opportunities we have, even the lifetime of the opportunity at hand right now. Bye for now, guys. See you the same time next week, next Sunday on the Crypto Capital Show.